Hi everyone, it's Linnea. Welcome back to another video using Simon Hurley Create products. Today I'm going to be using some of his line that I haven't used before. I was really inspired by the Space Training stamp set. I love that you can put any of those little critters or even the little guy there into the space helmet and create a fun image. So I'm going to use the stamp set along with the Stargazer stencil to create a galaxy card today. So for my background, I have a piece of cardstock. It's 6 by 6, so it's larger than what I need, but I like to do that when I'm adding water because that way I can add some purple tape around the edges and help keep my paper flat, and that's going to reduce my warping. So I'm going to be watercoloring a background with Nuvo shimmer powders, and to do this, there's a lot of ways that you can play with these. I mean, you can use them like regular watercolors, but I like to add water onto my cardstock, put some of the powder on, and then spray it again and kind of use a paintbrush just to spread that around. Now, you don't have to use a paintbrush, and if you don't, you're going to get more of those individual colors. The colors that make up this gold, you could see like some red and some blue. And so by using the paintbrush, I mix them together and get more of that gold color, but if you don't, then you could just leave the individual colors. I put on some of this lilac waterfall color. I thought I would have little bits of like blue and red kind of peeking out, and in the end it didn't work out the way that I had it in my head, but check out all that shimmer and shine. I mean, it's seriously, seriously gorgeous. So now all I'm going to do is just trim down that watercolor cardstock, and I'm kind of trimming it down because where I added that lilac waterfall, it's darker, so I wanted to kind of keep that in the center. I dried that whole background, made sure it was super dry with my heat tool, and now I'm going to bring in the Stargazer stencil. I lightly sprayed the back with some pixie spray, and I'm going to let this dry for a little bit less than a minute. This background has kind of a sheen and a texture to it from that Nuvo shimmer powder, so I didn't let the pixie spray dry completely because I wanted it to have a little bit of an extra tack. I'm going to use some Gina K Designs Glitz Glitter Gel over top of my stencil. I'm using the black color because I thought that would really contrast with that gold background. And it's kind of unexpected too, because when you see stars, they're usually white, maybe silver or gold, and I really thought the black would look super cool. Check out all of this sparkle between that watercolor background, and then there's all that glitter in the Glitz Glitter Gel. I am totally in love with how this turned out. I'm going to have to do a bunch more of these. I love mixing shimmer with shimmer. So I'm going to stamp out a bunch of the images from the Space Training stamp set. And I have a little tip for you because sometimes when you have stamps that are the acrylic or the photopolymer rather doesn't go into the center, like the helmet there, sometimes you can get a distorted image when you stamp it. So what I do is I just kind of hold it in my hand and let it drop onto my cardstock. And then I can very, very lightly nudge it to where I need it to go to stamp it. And that way the image keeps its intended shape. I stamped more images than I need in VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This is a waterproof ink, and I'm going to bring in my Arteza Real brush pens. Now I'm stamping on and coloring on Bristol Smooth cardstock. I've had these Arteza Real brush pens probably since the spring, and I think I've only used them once or twice. Honestly, I've been afraid of them, but lately I've been trying to use them more and kind of learn how to work with them. And there are so many different ways to use this. So one of the ways that I do is I just add some color and then blend it out with my water brush, kind of like you would with regular watercolor, and that's super easy. Now, I don't have a lot of colors, so I kind of have to mix up my own to get a color that I want. The yellow that I have is super, super bright. So I added in some rust orange, and then I even added in some brown. And in the end, I thought it was still too yellow. So I end up just coloring over it with some gray, and you'll see that later on at the end of the video. But I do encourage you to kind of mix up your colors. The color that I mixed up isn't a bad yellow, it just didn't look good with my background. So then also you can blend them together just like you would with alcohol markers. So for the flame on the rocket there, I added a little bit of red and then blended that out with an orange, and so you get a little bit of shading. For the black or gray areas on my coloring, I'm adding a darker gray, blending that out with a lighter gray brush pen, and then I'm going to come in with my water brush marker and just blend that out even more, so I have a nice gradient of color. Once I have these all colored in, I'm going to hit it quick with my heat tool just to make sure that the ink is all dry, and then I'll trim them all out with my scissors. And once I have them trimmed out, I stamped a couple sentiments onto black cardstock with white embossing powder, and I'm just going to kind of start messing around, adhering these onto my card. So I completely love how this little bear looks inside the space helmet, and I'm going to use the rocket ship and the moon behind him. I'll glue them on there. I thought maybe I would have them glued flat to the card, but then I decided just to glue them onto the back of the helmet there so that I could apply some foam tape and adhere them all together. I'm going to add a touch more glitter because, of course, no card is complete without a little more glitter. So I'll add that over my sentiment strip and then onto just a couple areas on my card. And I'm going to show you here in just a second all the glitter and shine because this is a galaxy card, so I thought that it should have a lot of glitter. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!